Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily podcast, where every day we dissect the latest trends in technology and their impact in our world. I'm your host, Neil C. Hughes, and I'm here to guide you through this technological journey. And today, we're going to be venturing into the intersection of AI, blockchain, and even the culinary arts. Have you ever wondered how technology can transform our approach to learning and indeed cultural experiences? Well, joining me to explore this fascinating topic is Dr. Alan Yang, co-founder of Hitch Interactive and also the brains behind the innovative Yami Hamo NFT project. So I want to learn more about how Hitch Interactive combines AI and blockchain to create immersive educational experiences, and also how it represents a groundbreaking fusion of gourmet cuisine and NFT technology. I'm looking forward to this one because it sounds like a delectable blend of technology, education and culinary art. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to the Bay Area, where today's guest is waiting to join me. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, Neil. My name is Alan, and I'm glad to be on your show today. And I and my family currently live in the Bay Area, and we have two great, lovely daughters. And I consider myself as a constant innovator who is really passionate about helping exponential growth technologies to find the right use of population. So through my career in education and also the opportunity to live in Bay Area and the Silicon Valley, and I was able to work in the education market and also some really cool techs in the past, I will say, 18 years.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast with us today. One of the things one of the big reasons I invited you on here to join us today was to tell everyone listening a little about Hitch Interactive, which is your latest venture, and the Hitch 1999 platform, of course. So can you tell me a little bit more about it, introduce everyone to it, and how this platform you're ultimately on a mission to signify a shift in the Web3 space. Can you tell me more about this?
So let me give you a little bit about my background. I think that my background in the past 18 years in Bay Area really shaped my belief about what I look at these cool technologies. So I think that I really have fortunate to wear two hats. In the past 18 years, I have been a faculty member at the University of California, Berkeley. At the same time, I will call myself a serial startup founder for some cool techs in Silicon Valley. So being so close to Silicon Valley, actually, I have the honor to work with the multiple talented projects in the past. And for example, one of my teams was the first to bring in the market the industrial AR glasses back in the day, 2015, I would say. And then in 2018, my team also worked very closely with the Qualcomm and a display company called Imagine that brought to CES 2018 the very first micro OLED 4K display, which is the same technology that today the Apple Vision Pro headset bring to the market this year. So because of these experiences, I really see the opportunities and also the pain points in innovation and technology. So since 2019, and myself and my partner, Crystal Tan, we launched a new company called the Hitch Interactive. So if you go to our website, hitchinteractive.com, you can already see some of the products we have developed since 2019, including Hitch Learn, Hitch Play, and Hitch Compete. So today, Neil, thanks to your platform, and we would love to talk about the new venture that based on the learning and social experiences that we have to further combine with the talk of the town in 2020 and 23, which is combining Miniverse, AI, and the Web3.
And what's so exciting for me about this is we're starting to see all these technologies converge. If we look at all the headlines over the last, 2-3 years, it's been 1 year was crypto, blockchain, the next year was Metaverse, last year was all about AI. And it almost feels like all these worlds are starting to collide now and ultimately converge. And as we record this podcast today, I think Bitcoin is up to $45,000. So many talking points there. And your company has also recently launched the first ever programmable NFTs. So can you explain to me what these are and the kind of code-driven content and experiences they deliver?
Yeah, so our company, the DNA, has been always focusing on two markets. One is learning and one is social. Now, when I talk about learning and social networks, it brings a lot of, you can call players or competitors already performing really well in these fields. But we do see that there are still some pain points for the maximum impact to address to the consumers and customers. And so hence that we create the company called Hitch Interactive. So in our company name, we want to make learning and social to be lovely. People love to learn and to be social and be more interactive. So I think that these are the two things that we still see a lot of innovation that needs to be done in the learning and the social market. Let me just give you an example.
Sure.
So in our company, I started noticing this trend of decentralization. And I'm a big believer of decentralization, but noted I'm definitely not the OG developer who had the opportunity to work on the Bitcoin and Ethereum during their early days. But I do believe that decentralization of social and learning is a really attractive proposition. But however, everybody knows that in the past 2 years, we had the market crash in 2022. And then even for today, we still don't have the clarity in the crypto regulation. So when we are continue to innovate for learning and social, and we actually held back from launching a product on the blockchain. And although the company have put significant funding to conduct research about the legal implications and how to develop the right technology in this area. But in 2023, one of the amazing things that we have seen is the performance of large language models, LGBT, right? So the AI for natural language processing. So in fact, because of my other hat in UC Berkeley, my group in Berkeley actually is one of the first to have developed a private GPT within Berkeley, right? That's not open to the public because we don't have the server power to serve the whole world. But in Berkeley, in my department, the ECS department, we actually launched a teaching assistant AI robot that helped the Berkeley students to learn about AI and robotics courses, which is amazing. So we want to be able to combine the blockchain technology and the GPT AI to bring a new product to the market. So which we can see as a new path that fuse the AI technology and the Web3 technology. At the same time, respect the current market and also steer clear of the crypto regulation. And I think these are the things that are very important, not just for our project, but for many other projects as well.
And I think keeping up to speed with the pace of technological change, particularly in this space, can be a little bit daunting and overwhelming. And something I try and do on this podcast every day is demystify some of those buzzwords and phrases. And you, of course, have introduced a new interactive standard called the Immutable Miniverse format. Now, for anybody listening, hearing those words put together, thinking, great Scott, like Doc Brown in Back to the Future, can you just tell me more about what this format is and how it ultimately revolutionizes the way that we interact with NFTs?
Yeah, so we have a lot of thoughts about the name for this project. Yeah. I remember our goal is to bring closer the two fantastic technologies. Specifically in 2023, one is AI and one is Web3. So in this case, we do see the AI and Web3, they both have potentials and also have clear drawbacks that really prevent them to grow to the full potential, just like the smartphone market or the social network market. Today, we can say that everybody has a smartphone and most of people, one way or the other, they are either on Facebook or they are on Twitter or they are on some other social networks. But on the other hand, if you really want to see more than 50% adoption of AI or Web3, we still have some pain points to address. So Immutable Miniverse is a new format. Hopefully, we can rally around to find new ways to bring the AI and Web3 together. So let me explain, Neil. So let me illustrate, I think, the main pain points for AI and Web3 and how Immutable Miniverse can address that. So for AI, and everybody loves to use GPT models to give them the everyday answers about the weather and the researching some basic concept. And however, we also, just in the last week, we saw some controversy about the GPT models, the training of the GPT models come to an inflection point because people concerned about the use of copyright data to be able to train those GPT models. And I will say that many users and definitely business users cared about their privacy. So if we have a choice of not always go to OpenAI, but have a private GPT model for the average users, then we want to ask, number one, can this model be from a decentralized marketplace, right? Not from a centralized institution that you have to cross fingers and then you have to believe that they safeguard your privacy. How about you take control of your own GPT models, right? So number two is that can you trust the data that those GPT models are trained on are accurate and no hallucination? And I think that today's centralized GPT models cannot guarantee that, right? Although they say that they are doing their best practice to work on this, but we still have latest lawsuits on the OpenAI model. And on the Web3, it is the counter opposite of the user experience for GPT AI. So with the Bitcoin today crossed 45,000, and then the NFT projects, and I can say that Web3 projects are natively decentralized. And then the authenticity of the data is actually verifiable on the blockchain and only using the smart contracts. However, the Web3 is very difficult to use for average user. So for example, and I believe that today it's very difficult to use any crypto project and just using voice to speak that, hey, I want to get a new wallet on Bitcoin or get on Ethereum. And then I want to create a new NFT to send to Neil to commemorate his wonderful podcast program. And we can do that for a lot of everyday questions for AI, but we still cannot do that for Web3. Even within our team, we have a team dedicated to bring Immutable Miniverse into the market. I can say to you, Neil, that half of our team members don't have a Web3 crypto wallet. So that is how difficult average people can interact with the Web3 today. So we want to use Immutable Miniverse to change that.
I love that. What a great, I love what you're doing now as well. But maybe just to bring it to life somewhat as well, can you tell me more about the Yami Hamo collection? How does each NFT in that collection provide a unique culinary experience? And what was the inspiration behind combining gourmet cuisines with digital art? Because I think very often we hear about things like NFTs and collectibles, etc., but understanding how they work in the real world and the inspiration behind them. And I suspect that not many people would put gourmet cuisines with NFT. So I'd love for you to share that story, just to bring everything to life that we're talking about here and help people listening in any industry understanding how they could leverage it too.
Yeah, Neil. So when people ask about Immutable Miniverse, we have to give a concrete example, right? And I always want to look at the marketplace and want to find the 99% of the user population. And today, or at least in 2023, we know that the Web3 user population is at 2 to 5%, right? So there's a huge potential to grow this market to find the next 50% of the population. So with the Immutable Miniverse, and we are looking for a concrete example, how can we bring the first collection of its NFTs to the market? And so the Yami Hamo is the example that we use to create the first collection. So if you think about the whole possibility of creating a universe of immutable universes representing different businesses, different individuals, and then people's the habit for music, for games, and so on and so forth. So you can think about Yami Hamo as the gourmet district of the universe of Immutable Miniverse. So let me give you a concrete example. So the Yami Hamo NFT as a collection has in total 1,000 NFTs. So they represent 1,000 gourmet dishes from the world. And so Neil, based on what you mentioned to me that you are based in the UK, so in the 1,000 gourmet dishes from the UK, you are going to find representative dishes such as beef Wellington, haggis, and shepherd's pie. These are the gourmet dishes I enjoy when I visit London and when I visit Scotland. And then for your American audience, we also have dishes such as the foot-long hot dog, wet barbecue, the Texan style, the pecan pie and dessert as a dessert, so on and so forth. And for the heritage, my Asian friends, we also have the Peking duck, the Thai ice cream rolls, and the beef kebab. So this list just going on. And then inside each NFT, our creative team not only designed the amazing artwork to illustrate these gourmet dishes, which will be our own IP, and I believe that they are visually very stunning. But our standard for Immutable Miniverse also encode a kind of cookbook story about each dish as part of the artwork. So when you use Yami Hamo NFT as example, as your Twitter avatar, as your Facebook avatar, you actually not only carry the artwork, but also carry an embedded cookbook as the data in the NFT. Now, here's the fun part, right? So previously, I mentioned that we want the Immutable Miniverse to combine the Web3 and the AI. So with the embedded cookbook data, our company, Hitch Interactive, now offers a free private GPT model that can learn from the encoded data about the culinary culture and how to make those dishes. And then you can further interrogate the GPT model and to ask more about the gourmet information that can combine the natural languages that the model will just naturally converse with you, right? Not just as a textbook or a website that is static. It's really provide you with more information based on your need. Or you just want to know some background, who really invented the dish, or today you are in your kitchen and you want to get step-by-step instruction of how to recreate those dishes, and our private GPT model will be able to provide that. So that's the next level of interaction that thanks to the Web3 and AI technologies.
A question I've got to ask is, if Miniverses are not third-party dependent, how does that independence enhance the value and utility of NFTs in the Web3 ecosystem as a whole?
Yeah, that's a great question, Neil. We name our product, part of the name is called Miniverse, right? Yeah. We want to draw contrast to the whole metaverse concept. At least for today, when you talk about metaverse, you are thinking about, there is a centralized ecosystem that bring your social network, bring your work, and bring your football games. And even a metaverse company has their way and even bring your banking information into the same platform, right? You can do a lot today with the metaverse. But however, you also lose the privacy of your data. Some metaverse companies may know even better than you who you're going to vote for the next election or the US president, right? So some people don't like that. So therefore, we are looking at the opposite end of the spectrum, which is the Miniverse. So in this case, we want the Miniverse to still being able to offer very interactive experiences about your social network, about your learning of blockchain, about your favorite football players, and so on and so forth. But we want to respect your privacy. So to that, we have to make the Miniverse and then the services and utility of this Miniverse to be third-party independent, which means that it does not depend on us, right? So we don't know, you can make your own NFT to be independent of our services, which means that very much like the argument from Apple, right? As a company, we provide you with the standard so that you can mint your own NFT to commemorate your habits, to commemorate your learning experiences. But we actually, as a company, Hitch Interactive, we don't want to hold your privacy data. We don't want to know your habits. So that is, I think, one critical part of making Miniverses to be third-party independent. Again, which is very different from the solutions of Metaverse, which seems to require to know everything about you. And on the other hand, because our creation of Miniverse, in order to be immutable, we have to put the products onto the blockchain. So as I talked about previously, one of the pain points is the lack of clarity for the regulation in blockchain and in NFTs. Specifically, also in 2023, we actually have seen that the US SEC, they took legal actions to some NFT projects. So one of the factors that really triggered the SEC to look more into some of the NFTs is this Howey test, right? So we want to make sure that the NFT projects and the crypto projects are not unregistered securities. So based on this US-based Howey test, it could be a project like the NFT may run into a huge risk if it's deemed as a security. The requirement that my lawyers told me is that a security needs to derive its value through the effort of an identifiable third party. So therefore, another motivation to really make the miniverses living on the blockchain to be third-party independent is to make sure that we are staying on the good side of the regulators. So we are trying to make the utility of all of these previous interactions we have using the immutable miniverse to be independent of the company who is going to mint it. Or we are looking at ourselves as publishers, right? So the old publishers publish books, and we want to publish knowledge from the human society using immutable miniverses, but we don't want us to be the regulators. We don't want us to regulate who is going to use the miniverse and who is not allowed to use the miniverse. So therefore, from the regulation point of view, I think that's also a big pain point in today's crypto world, and keeping the projects independent, the third-party independent, is also very important.
And as I said, we're recording this at the very beginning of 2024. There's a lot of renewed excitement in this space. And we've talked, or you've hinted there, about regulation and spoke a little about that. So as we look forward, how do you envision the future of NFTs, especially with the introduction of the IMF standard, for example? And are there any new use cases or opportunities that you see opening up for creators and users alike this year?
Yeah, so previously we worked in the education market, and because of this project and the conception of this project, we were very fortunate to work and then also interact with really OG developers and also legal experts, the lawyers who actually know infinitely well about this domain. And I heard some of my friends actually said that the future of NFTs probably need a makeover of its name. I think that some of this sentiment was because some previous NFT projects just left a bad taste to their early users. But personally, I think that NFT should keep its name, but it should represent the underlying technology. Just like the NFT for the blockchain and Web3 should be treated as HTML or 5G network that really underpin today's internet. However, I think what we need for the future of NFTs are more non-fungible utility of these tokens. We know that the NFT, the non-fungible part, is built in its name. But however, a lot of the OG NFT projects, the value, why people buy into those NFTs are based on daily traders. So they trade NFTs based on their transaction values. So which means that I make the decision whether to buy an NFT with the concept of whether I will make a profit if I buy and hold strategy, or I do buy and sell of the NFT. So a lot of NFT with high transaction values, they actually don't have a very clear non-fungible utility of it. Certainly not connecting to the real world. For example, the Yami Hamo NFT, I said I want it to be the gourmet district of the virtual world, of the Web3. But a lot of the OG NFT projects, I think that they purposely left the utility undefined. It seems to me as a misconception that a Web3 NFT project has to go into extra effort to make minimal utility that interact with the real world. So with this, we wholeheartedly disagree with this concept. So for example, the Yami Hamo will be our answer that we believe that people come to if you compare a virtual world with the real world, such as in New York or in London. If I visit New York or I have the opportunity to go to London, if I'm going to a real address, if I'm going to visit a real business, I want to know the precise utility, why I need to be there, right? whether the business is selling groceries or it's going to sell noodles for my lunch. And also on the Web 1 or Web 2, when people buy a smartphone or download an app, they need to precisely know the utility of the phone or the utility of the app from the App Store, right? So I think that when we look at the future of NFTs, and we have to look back at the past of NFTs. And I think that some of, not all, but some of the NFT projects is as if asking people to download an app from your iPhone. It has a good logo on it, but actually the programming part, the utility part of this app is empty. We cannot imagine that normal people with the smartphones can download an app that only has a logo on it. And when you download the app and search for that and then read the reviews, you don't know actually what this app is for. And then it left for the user to define. So that didn't happen for Web 1, Web 2. And I believe that is the pain point for some of the NFT projects for Web 3. So therefore, Yami Hamo NFTs that we created, we wanted to not only represent the real culinary culture and themselves will be a really cool cookbook. And because they also represent the real data, now we can put a private GPT model on it to train on this data to have the knowledge, learn from Yami Hamos. And we're going to offer the Hitch Mint as the future, as our future, to allow not just us, but our business users and the consumer users to create their own decentralized experiences and business to create their own immutable Miniverse. So I always want to tell everybody that you would look at GPT and then you look at the NFTs as the highway, as the water system, as the utility of a big city like New York, like London, right? We need to have those utilities, but we also need to build the financial district and the food district, the main street of the world that people live on. So I think that the immutable Miniverses will be the main street for the Web3.
Well, I've absolutely loved chatting with you today. And I should also highlight that you're not only a serial entrepreneur, you're also one of the top 100 faculty innovators at UC Berkeley. And with all that in mind and everything that we talked about today, what's your vision for Hitch's interactive role in helping shaping the future of Web3 and this year and beyond? And is there anything you can share around how you plan to integrate educational and innovative elements into this evolving landscape? Because I suspect there'll be a lot of people from your community listening, hoping for a few teasers. But is there anything you can share about the road ahead?
Yeah, so definitely we don't want to reveal too much, Neil. But we actually have publicly claimed that we're going to bring this fantastic functionality of Hitch Mint into the market. As I said before, we want to be able to introduce this platform and then this format, and for the future Web3 users and the AI users to be able to create their decentralized AI, right? So as part of the journey, we want to take an active role in offer the interactive learning experiences for exponential growth technology. So in some sense, we want to particularly pay attention because our roots is in education. Both my two hats as an innovator or as an educator in California. So we want to be able to, we want to use Hitch Mint and the Immutable Miniverse to build an education district for the Web3. And the reason because is that, for example, Musk actually mentioned during one of his many interviews that he observed that his children learn exponential technologies not from traditional school and textbooks, but mainly from social media, from the online platform. I think that's certainly going to be the future of learning, right? I'm an educator for 18 years. I can second that observation. In a traditional school, creating new education programs are really slow. So therefore, I think that the Hitch Mint and the Immutable Miniverse will create a great platform for learning as well. So think about this, right? So if you are a domain expert, something that other people don't know, in crypto or in math, in autonomous driving, in AR, VR, and the Metaverse, you can mint your knowledge and then your curriculum, your courses into the Immutable Miniverse, right? So that's number one. Number two, you created the curriculum, but who is going to teach it, right? So that is the main point. And it's not enough today to have one professor. You actually need to be able to accommodate from one student to hundreds of students. So again, traditional education institutions, they are really bad at scaling, right? So because they are centralized. So with the GPT technology and with the immutable curriculum, and then we can deploy GPT models to be the TA, to supervise this type of repetitive jobs, right? So that actually is one of the growth for AI models, is not to replace creativity of the people, but actually replace the repetitive jobs. So I think that being the AI TA will be uniquely suitable to be able to provide new services in the education. Finally, I want to mention about is the incentives, right? So for the domain expert to really contribute their time and knowledge to mint their knowledge onto a storage, and for other people to learn, many people want to be equitably compensated. So in this case, and I think that with the blockchain technology and the crypto, and we can actually also offer fair market value if domain experts and educators are willing to put their experiences onto Immutable Miniverse so they can define, and certainly their students are going to review their performance. Therefore, the supply and demand, hopefully through decentralization, will find the equilibrium to be able to negotiate a fair market value for people to contribute their knowledge to create education programs. I think that will be the future. Neil, you asked about Immutable Miniverse and blockchain. How can they combine with education? So we are really excited about this future.
Wow, what a moment to end on. Absolutely love that. But before I do let you go, we are at that magical time of year where people are starting to look at how they can do things better this year. And there is a real pressure on everyone to be in a state of continuous learning almost. So a question I've got to ask for yourself here is, how or where do you self-educate? How do you keep on top of the trends and the speed of change in this industry? Is there anything that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I think that is actually the pain point, right? So me as an example, I hold a PhD degree, but surprisingly, everything I do and everything I am based on the technology to be able to work in this fantastic company, Hitch Interactive. I learned about Python programming. I learned about what is GPT models. I learned about blockchain way post my graduation with my PhD degree. And so to that, I think that self-education, Neil, you asked, great question, is going to be a challenge to everyone, right? Because AI is going to replace repetitive jobs. So what should we do as intelligent humans, species? Well, we want to stay creative. So therefore, I think that self-education will be the norm that is going to ask our people to carry through their entire career, right? Your education will never end after you got your bachelor's degree. It will never end after you got your master's degree, right? So in this sense, I have been conveying this sense of urgency to everybody, that it seems to be that today, in the past, when you go to a business school or when you manage a company, like tech company, you worry about innovation. You call yourself an innovator. So there are many great books, business books about how to be successful as innovators. But today, with the GPT, with decentralization and blockchain, everybody has to be an innovator to master today's new technologies, right? So if the future is not just smartphones now, if the future is about metaverse, the future is about blockchain, and everybody need to know how to get a Bitcoin wallet. Everybody need to know how to create an NFT to have a conversation with Neil, right? So I think that this is really the self-education part. And we want to be able to create a platform. Again, third-party independent. We don't think that we hold all the answer to that. But I think the answer is in the pudding, right? So it's about the knowledge. And it's about the storage of the knowledge and be able to democratize the knowledge of the human society. And to this, I think that the AI and Web3 will be the great platform to carry our society forward. So I'm just hoping that the Immutable Miniverse and many very exciting virtual districts, the food district, the education district, the financial district, the gaming district, the football district, right? So will be established with these new technologies. I'm really looking forward to that in 2024.
Fantastic. Well, as I said a few moments ago, love chatting with you today. And for anyone listening, just want to find out a little bit more information about anything we talked about today. Maybe they even want to join your community and get involved there and make a difference. Where would you like to point everyone listening?
Yes, please visit our website, hitch1999.com. So I hope that this is a simple website enough. And with the new year, we launch our Yami Hamo NFT on the OpenSea.io. So if you specifically want to look into our NFT collection, head on to OpenSea and search Yami Hamo.
Well, one of the things I always say on this tech podcast is it's not just the emerging technologies that is exciting, it's when they all begin to converge. I mentioned it at the very beginning. And one of the things that stood out to me about Hitch Interactive is how you're connecting innovators and providing immersive experiences right across AI, robotics, fintech, the metaverse. Incredibly exciting stuff. But just a big thank you for sharing your story today.
Thank you, Neil.
So a big thank you to today's guest for showing how technology can bridge the gap between education, culture and innovation. And I think it's clear that Hitch Interactive is not just pushing the boundaries of an NFT utility, but also attempting to redefine how we interact with and learn about the world around us. And as we continue to navigate the evolving landscape of Web3 and immersive technology, conversations like today's are crucial in understanding the potential and challenges ahead. But that's it for today, so thank you for listening as always. Remember, stay curious, stay informed, and until next time, don't be a stranger.